Indian Ambassador in DC Kwatra and Russian Ambassador in Ottawa Stepanov. They are coordinating a surveillance network.
Indian government has raised serious concerns about the safety and security of India's ambassador to the United States of America. India's Ministry of External Affairs says that India expects the United States to take these security concerns seriously. India had to take up the matter with the US authorities after India's most wanted and banned Khalistani outfit Sikhs for Justice chief Gurpatwant Pannun announced $25,000 reward for tracking down Russian Ambassador Oleg V in Canada and Indian Ambassador Vinay Mohan Kwatra in the United States.
Are you satisfied with the kind of security that they have, or are there concerns that India has expressed?
And regarding threats, yes, as and when such threats are issued, we take them very seriously and we raise it with the US government. In this particular case also, we've raised it with the US government, and it is our expectation that the United States government will take our security concerns seriously and act on it.
Pannu, in a video released on December 18th and recorded on 13 December, accused the Russian embassy in Canada of aiding in the assassination of terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar. SFJ chief claimed the Russian embassy hacked the Telegram account of slain Sikh leader Hardeep Singh Nijjar in May 2023 and passed on information gathered by it to India's External Intelligence Agency Research and Analysis Wing. Khalistani terrorist Pannu, who uses US soil to spit venom against India, alleged that the Russian embassy also provided the location of terrorist Gurpatwant Pannun to Research and Analysis Wing and facilitated a foiled murder for hire plot. Gurpatwant Pannun has also claimed that high-ranking Indian diplomats serving in the United States and Canada are conducting surveillance and running spy networks to monitor and suppress Khalistani movements in the United States and Canada. Pannu, with a stern warning to Putin, has also announced $25,000 reward for tracking down Russian Ambassador Oleg V in Canada and Indian Ambassador Vinay Mohan Kwatra in the United States. Earlier, Pannu had threatened to attack Russian missions across the world and media house RT India and Sputnik India for running a disinformation campaign against the Khalistani movement. According to media reports, the Russian embassy in Canada had junked the outlandish allegations leveled by the banned Khalistani terror outfit. In a statement, it clarified, quote, "We will raise the issue of this group's dangerous activities with Global Affairs Canada and the RCMP. Tracking chiefs of foreign missions and offering a reward for such actions is absolutely unacceptable and could be seen as a step toward planning a terrorist attack." Pannu by many is perceived as an agent of America's deep state, particularly an agent of CIA. He has been issuing threats against India and Indian government and its diplomat with impunity. The sudden allegations involving Russia may be looked as a wider agenda of pitching India and Russia in a bloc to pressurize India in view of the Russia-Ukraine war. Russia's foreign ministry earlier in May also issued a statement on Canada's allegations without pith and substance.
And with regard to Washington, because it is hard to imagine more repressive regime than Washington in international and national affairs. With regard to your question in particular, according to our information, so far Washington has not given so far any credible information or evidence that Indian citizens are involved in the preparation of killing of some Pannun. As for the speculations, since there is no evidence, they are not acceptable. Regular groundless accusations by the US against New Delhi, and we see that they not only accuse groundlessly New Delhi but also other states in violating religious freedoms, reflects the fact that the US simply does not understand the national mindset and the historical context of the development of the Indian state, and they are not respecting India as a state. And we believe that it stems from the neo-colonial mindset, the colonial mindset during the times of slavery and imperialism. And by the way, it has to do not only with India. And the reason is that they try to unbalance the domestic political situation in India in order to make it harder to have the general parliamentary election, and that is part of the meddling into India's domestic affairs.
Earlier, US Ambassador to Canada, in an interview to Canada's CTV News, alleged that US has shared intelligence with Canada on the murder of Canadian citizen and India's most wanted Khalistani leader, terrorist Hardeep Singh Nijjar.
The accusation the Prime Minister leveled in the House of Commons last Monday against the government of India that there is a potential link, according to credible intelligence he has in his possession, between the government and the murder of a Canadian citizen back in June. The Washington Post this week said that weeks before the Prime Minister's comments, Ottawa asked its closest allies, including Washington, to publicly condemn the murder, but the overtures were rebuffed. I wanted to and ask you very bluntly if that was the case.
So very bluntly, I will say that, and you know me well enough, that I'm not in the habit of commenting on private diplomatic conversations. Look, I will say that this was a matter of shared intelligence information. There was a lot of communication between Canada and the United States about this. And I think that's as far as I'm comfortable going. I mean, I just don't think it's appropriate for me to share publicly private diplomatic conversations. Once you do that, it's sort of hard to have private diplomatic conversations because all of a sudden your partners, your allies will worry that those conversations will be reported on the air.
Let me ask you then more broadly about how the U.S. interprets what has unfolded, rather than the specifics of a conversation that took place. And by that I mean, the reporting, particularly at the outset of the week, seemed to indicate like there was some hesitancy on the part of Washington to jump to the defense of Canada in any capacity, or to be as worried about the potential of this happening as Canada is. Can you respond to that concern?
I can respond to that by saying, first of all, that the United States takes very seriously these allegations, and if they prove to be true, it is a potentially very serious breach of the rules-based international order in which we like to function. I think in the last couple of days, high-ranking United States officials in Washington have basically put that concern to rest in saying quite clearly that we have expressed our concern to India over these allegations, and have asked India to cooperate in the Canadian investigation of what has occurred here. So this is something we take very seriously, and we think it's very important to get to the bottom of it.
Indian government has constituted an inquiry committee to investigate the assassination plot of SJF leader Gurpatwant Pannun. Meanwhile, indictment has been filed accusing RAW agent Vikas Yadav. US has already arrested one Indian national, Nikhil Gupta, in Czech Republic in connection with the alleged assassination plot. India has time and again said that Canada has never shared any evidence, and allegations of Indian government's role in the Nijjar murder case are false. After Pannun's latest threat, India's MOS External Affairs Kirtibardhan Singh released a statement, and I quote, "Government is aware of the allegations about the involvement of Indian nationals in a purported acts or intent in the US and Canada. As part of ongoing security cooperation with the United States, certain inputs shared by the US side pertaining to the nexus between organized criminals, gun runners, terrorists, and other that impinge on India's national security interests as well are being examined by a high-level inquiry committee that has been constituted for this purpose. Insofar as Canada is concerned, it has presented no evidence whatsoever in support of the serious allegations it has chosen to label. In addition, its public narrative on this issue appears to be in service of an anti-India separatist agenda. Persisting with such a narrative can only be harmful for any stable bilateral relationship. Government have therefore repeatedly urged the Canadian authorities to take action against anti-India elements operating from their soil. The welfare, safety and security of Indian nationals who are living, working and studying in the US and Canada remains of utmost importance to the Government of India. Issues faced by Indian nationals in the US and Canada are brought to the attention of the relevant authorities whenever they arise for swift redressal. Earlier, in a sharp U-turn, Canada's PM Justin Trudeau and his close intel staff denied involvement of PM Modi, External Affairs Minister Dr. S. Jaishankar and National Security Advisor Ajit Doval. Trudeau in fact came hard on his own national security officials for spreading lies about Indian government. With President Donald Trump taking over in January, Pannun and his rogue deep state friends likely to have hard days in the United States. Thanks for watching National Defense. Please do write which part of the world you are watching this video.